2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. To your left. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. 2, 3. I think, is that Maria? Coming in. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, one more time. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. 2, 3. To your left. 2, 3. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, hands on your waist. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. So you have a choice of there or here. 2. Go the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. So that always confuses us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center. Hands on your waist, neck, turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, and stop. Tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center. Rotating. 1, 2, 3. Reverse. 1, 2, 3. Center. Hands up. Pulling. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Spread your feet. Turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, and stop. Okay, stretch it out. Switch. 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 Straighten the front knee. Switch. Switch again. Switch. Switch. Okay, Sana. Okay, we shake it out. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, hands here. Shoulder roll. Reverse. And center. Okay, press. Release. Exhale. Inhale. And stop. Hands up. Pull an inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, wrists. Reverse. Okay, palms down. Bigger circle. And stop. Okay, shake it out. Okay, let's go side to sides. Okay, lift. Sana. Let's do insert needle. So insert and lift. Switch. Okay. Sana. Let's work the legs. Swing. Leg swing. Switch. And Sana. Side to side. Ready, go. And switch. And Sana. Shake it out. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Hands here. Silk grilling. And switch. And Sana. Okay. Open and close. Switch. Okay, center, circular movements. Okay, lower hoop. Shoulder height. Elbows down. Lower, palms down. Extend. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Diagonal flying. Switch. Center. Cloud hands. Okay, palms down. Lift up, carry tiger to the mountain. Infinity sign. Form the fists. Okay, palms together, strum the lute. Turn, draw the bow. Okay, fan through the back. Okay, raise the hand. Okay, palms down, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, good. Relax for a few seconds. So it appears to me that the screen over there, I think the streaming or the filming might have went amok. so, so I don't know. I'll take a quick look. We're gonna, you want to see the screen? Yeah. So maybe something went wrong, unless. So something. I don't know. Usually there's the image of the room here, and then so. Well, anyways, we'll go through the short form. It's still a class, just that. Oh, okay, ready? Preparation. Turn the corner. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Single whip. Hold the ball. Diagonal flying shift. Step up. Press forward. Raise the hand. Stork flaps wings. Turn. Brush knee 4 times. Strum the lute. Close the door. Form the fist. Punch. Divert, lock, and punch. Cross the arms. Leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Fist on the elbow. Repulse the monkey. Diagonal flying. Hold the ball. Insert the needle. Fan through the back. Turn. Stroke down. Parry and punch. Step forward. Divert, block, and punch. Cross the arms. Leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Turn. Lift up. Carry tiger to the mountain. Cross the forearms. Raise the left hand. Bend from the waist. Stork flaps wings. Turn. Left side grasp the sparrow's tail. Left side single whip. Hold and reverse the ball. Diagonal flying. Sit back. Stroke down. Pot the horse's mane. Step up. Stroke down. Pot the horse's mane. Cross over. Forward. Back. Forward J lady, work shadow. Cross over. Forward. And back. And forward. Sink your elbow. Drop your elbow to single whip. Pivot right to cloud hands. Single whip. Hold the ball. Reverse the ball. Close the form. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale. So, any questions? Yes. Uh, mhm. So, uh, timing is something that's constantly evolving, and it's also depending on um, what your goal is while you're doing the form. Smoothness, um, maybe block form, square form, meaning that it's much more linear, and tying it together so the movements end approximately the same time for the final position. Because in between is transitional, so it varies. So when I do the form sometimes in class, it varies because part of it is for the students, because that's varying, and it varies for people watching, because I try to slow it down so they could see if that's actually working, at this point. So, um, those questions will be kind of constantly be there, because you say, well, how come you did it this way this time and that way that time? Because on a visual side, we can't pick up every nuance each and every time, because it depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at someone's feet, or you're looking at my feet, or you're looking at your torso, or the right arm or the left arm, you lose track of things. So that's one of the reasons why when we do a group form, we essentially stay together sequentially, but everybody's going to be doing it slightly different. So that's where that comes into play. So that we base it on, say, well, okay, today we're working on turning right and left, then we focus on that. And if we start to focus on shifting of weight, then we can focus on that. But all of those concepts have to come together, as part of your, that experience, but also your skill level. So that varies tremendously among people, because some people have done it for 20 years, some people have been at this for 5. So it varies from, 0 to wherever the most, advanced person is, or the longest practitioner. So, that's the reason. So strum the lute, typically, if you break it down, and we're going to use the mirror in this case. So this is actually a neutral position. So look at the things that come into play when we start, right? We stand in a shoulder width position. We start off with a triangle. We end up like that. So you have a right and left triangle, and this position is called strum the lute, right? It's called strum the lute because when you're finally in this position, that's the target position. So what's the target position? You have the triangle, which is square. And you know what it means by square? It means your shoulders are parallel to the mirror, and it's 90 degrees to the mirror. Okay. So here's a triangle. When we separate the hand, you have either a left or a right side vertical elbow, which is strum the lute. Now in the form, we have a series of motions that take us through to the final position, which is close the door. So we start here, and then the hand goes across 45 degrees, then it turns palm up and it comes back to center. And then we lean forward as if we're thrusting. Then we step through to a shoulder width stance, and we end up here. Okay. Now that's essentially the arm movements, right? If we go into strum the lute from a position while we're stepping, and we merge the two hands and we turn the shoulders, we end up like this. So, how long does it take for someone to pick up the fact that we come to center and hold this position? Now we have options from here. We can go to horizontal elbow. We can turn to the right and then come back to center. And then we go forward. So there's a transition there that begins to integrate the body, right? So what we mean by right and left means that the direction of your shoulders can go either right or left 45 degrees. So in the vertical position, we have a 0 position here. When we turn our chest 45 degrees, which is essentially the most it can turn, and it's the limit for what you would want to turn 45 degrees to right or left. Now that happens by turning your spine, rotating in the lower part of your back, and if you want to give way to that, if the back is a little bit tight or it doesn't go that far, then your hips will make up that little bit of difference. So between the turning, there is a little bit of hip and a little bit of back, because it's all tied together. They're not separate. It's really tied together through your musculature and the connective tissue. So So when something moves, it essentially all kind of connects, so something else will happen. That's why in stretching, there's a balance. It's really your muscles contracting and relaxing and releasing and then contracting. So that's part of what the information you've fed your body to do that particular movement. So if I'm here and I turn 45 degrees and I don't turn my shoulders, my hand would cross over like that, right? But we don't want to do this because that's kind of isolated. So we want to turn like this. Okay. Then we turn the palm up. But at the same time, we have two hands and they have a relationship. So when the hand turns to this corner, it's because of the rotation of the body. Then the secondary hand, which is this hand, is actually becoming part of that motion. So they're linked together. Not on a physical level, but on a, connected intrinsic level. It's connected. So we're moving like this, so then your body feels like there's something going on here, which is your consciousness of that and intent, and you move. Now, once it reaches that point, you're going to turn your palms. And you see both palms turn like this. You see they turn like this. When it turns like this, you move back to center. But what we'll miss in this instance is when we go across like this and then we start to sink, turn back, the elbow actually sinks a little bit, right? So you can see that the hand is turning and sinking, but the shoulder's relaxing, right? Then at the same time, that's why this is so complicated, that when I go to here and I turn and I sink, the intent of the movement has gone to this side of the arm. So when it turns, it's rotating off an axis that actually parallel runs through your arm, and you're turning and it's sinking like this. At this point, where is my forearm? It's on the triangle position. You see? So when I turn, when I sink to here, at this point, lined up with my nose, I go forward. So where does your intent go at this point? It goes to your fingertip, because as my hand sinks, I created this 45 geometry of that position. It allows me to thrust forward with an intent of thrusting and poking here. Now, when I step up, I shift my weight to the left and I move to the right. And this is where you sink down and then push forward and then relax. So there you have right, left, up and down, forward and back integration of the relationship. But what you also will see, if you look from the side view, and I go like this, and I go forward, and I shift. When I sink, I go down. My elbows contract. And then when I expand, my legs straighten. My hands go out, and my body goes back to the vertical erect position, which is a compensation for the forward motion. So all of that is tied to a certain amount of sensitivity in the body. So that's why it's going to vary tremendously among the individuals doing it. And can you capture the right, the left, the forward, the back, the up, and the down, and tie the relationship of the elbows and the knees, the torso and the arms, the spine and the hand and fingers, and then relaxing so that you have this on the end of the movement. And that's the finalization of your movement. So there's a lot to each and every posture, but can you track all of these nuances simultaneously? It's impossible, because your consciousness of the motion is really kind of singular. While we're focusing on this as the arm, we haven't connected the body. When we're focusing on the center line, we haven't connected the elbow. When we haven't connected the elbow, then we haven't built the relationship between the elbows and the knees. When the knees straighten out and I focus my hand by seating my wrists, did we release the ankle and allow that to straighten up and then still tie the soles of your feet to the ground? And then lift your back in a vertical position with everything extended. My arms extended, my legs extended, and my back extended. And then everything folded and relaxed and rounded. That's sensitivity and feeling, but it's a sequence of events based on response. Because the mind says do this, the body does it, and your body has to go through its um, sensory system. There's a sensory system that detects and signals the trigger points for when certain things happen. That's all built into your synapses and the trigger points in the joints and in the sort of muscle spindles. And the somatic sensory system comes into play and detects all of this stuff while we're moving. I didn't know I was going to answer all of that, but the thing is, you can't answer one of it without going to the other part of it. Because if then the next time you ask a question, he says, "Well, the last time you said do this, how come you moved that?" So it's actually all tied together. That's what we call the unification of oneness, when everything becomes integrated as one. And I say, like your transmission, you know, it's geared. Each and every one of your joints is tied together as if it was geared together. And it works like clockwork, and that's what timing is. Timing, a clock works based on those gears if it's a mechanical uh, type of thing. Like the grandfather clocks or the old watches, they're geared together, and it's very refined as it moves just together. If it moves a little faster, you wind it up, and it starts to tick. It just moves together like that. Your body does the same thing. So that's what's pretty amazing. Now, is there a value to that? Well, you're building a tremendous program up in here. And that program is used for everything else that you do when it's time. So I call it the um, moving. You're learning through movement. So you're building the intelligence of the body. So that's what the body learns, is this timing, and then your brain learns how to figure this out. So that process is what you use to do everything, timing and figuring things out. Then if you're tied to timing, timing's essential. Each and every day we have a timing that we go through. Some of it is habitual because that's what we do. We get up in the morning. That's sort of uh, you know, the timing that we have, in each and every individual. So when we move, we're building this, using this platform to get that to happen. So it's kind of interesting. So if we were to go to strum the lute, we would adjust this foot, step up like this. This hand would go there, and this hand would end up on that 45. So there's your posture, right? So that's getting there without, going through any of the other parts of it. So we're here, we're here, we're here, and we did that. Remember in class, Mara worked on it, about maybe 2 months ago. So then we turn here, and then sink here. Then lean forward here, fold and push out to close the door. And then we sink the elbow relaxation. Then we're going to turn, form the fist, and then separate the hands. Step up, drive the punch, sit back, go to the left, move to the right, sink the elbow and punch, cross the arms, turn to the left, right, and then turn to the left, move forward and sink. Yeah, because you have to turn to the left to move to the right. You have to turn to the right to move left. So everything is balanced. You use the idea of moving right and left to create part of the transition, part of the structure. If I just do this, it becomes an isolated movement. That's not as sophisticated as we want it. We want it to be more complicated than that, because the body doesn't really work like that. We do it like that because we don't know any other way to do it. So this is building the relationship to the right and left sides. So the secondary hand and the frontal hand, whichever the dominant hand is, becomes a relationship, and it's a give and take. You have to compromise. Sometimes you follow it, sometimes you lead with the opposite hand, and you build that. So if this is leading, then it's got to turn to a following or a, so they complement each other, constantly changing. When my hand is here, if I move like this, then it moves like this. This is the dominant hand, but then when we relax, the body creates the driving movement. And depending on whether this is being, the focus point of this, it varies. When we form the fist, this is the movement, but this is holding it, right? Sustaining it. So sustaining a position is just a consciousness of that position while you're moving the other hand. When I move this hand, this becomes a supplement to that, and they kind of give and take, constantly giving and take. But the give and take comes from where? It comes from your torso. So the torso movement is the driving. So that's the driving gear, the big gear, the waist. The hands exchange because the body will turn. And when it turns between the two shoulders, one will open and one will close. Between the hips, one will close and one will open. So that relationship becomes a constant once the body starts to know. And, that's what happens to I call it the manipulation of skeletal structure. But that's what happens to our joints. When they always are moving in pairs, that's when you're going to have double weighted. That's when you're going to have problems with stiffness and inability to. So when you shift your weight, one is releasing and one is filling. So there's a substantial and insubstantial, a solid and empty side. That's what they term it. Differentiating between substantial and insubstantial is the concept. But how do you do that? You do that through shifting of weight, minute transfer of body positioning, and minute adjustments of your skeletal structure. So when the skeleton shifts, what happens? The connective tissue moves, the ligaments and tendons adjust, and those, because it's done slowly, those ligaments and tendons adjusting creates movement, circulation, and your sensory system is heightened because now it's detecting what it's learning or being told to do. Then eventually your system, through muscle memory, creatures of habit, it all gets formulated in there, and then it starts to happen. That's what subconscious movement is. It happens without thinking, and then those moves become reflex. So at the highest level, it's probably just a reflex action that spontaneous, but it happens and it becomes an action that's a controlled, because it's trained as a reflex that you could use, whether it's as a martial art or whatever you have to do. So, but it allows you to recover quicker as a response. Your response is going to be, sudden and, controlled in the sense that it's limiting, so you don't have to do these big movements. The big movements are sort of kind of reactive, but it's what you do as a response. That's something like covering up or protecting yourself. Those are innate. Those are things that you learn from the primitive part of your body or your brain. So that's what we're going through. Is that okay, Peter? Okay, so let's go to the long form. That's just a dose of that. All right, ready? Preparation? So we know this is grasp the sparrow's tail. Carry tiger to the mountain. Oblique single whip. Fist under elbow to repulse the monkey. Turn, carry tiger to the mountain. Open the stance. Hold the ball. Step up, press forward, press down, lift up, bend. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Turn. Brush knee one time. Insert the needle. Step forward. Fan through the back. Turn. Stroke down. Invert the hand, parry and punch. Form the fist and retreat. Divert, block, and punch. Step up. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Single whip. Hold the ball. Cloud hands. Okay, so we turn to the left, we turn to the right. We turn to the left, we turn to the right. We turn to the left, turn to the right, turn to the left, turn to the right, turn to the left, turn to the right center. And then, so you're saying, do we turn right, left? It's constant. Hold, pot the horse's mane. First instep kick, vertical position, forward and back, turn to the right, fold the elbows, turn to the left. Pivot and turn 180, fold the elbows, heel kick, turn to the right, back to left center. Brush knee to the right and push. Sit back and forward. Turn to the left, brush knee and push. Turn to the right, move to the left, forward to the right. Planting punch. Turn to the left center, turn. Parry and punch. Turn to the right center, set up. This is the fourth movement. This is setting up, going to the corner. We turn to the left, spread the feet, open the stance on the oblique, lift the right hand, turn, lift the elbow, pot the horse's mane, stroke down. This is actually Jade Lady. This is like Jade Lady work. Shuttle, lower hoop, cross the arms, heel kick. 2 punches to the ear. Neutral position, flip the hands, parting leg, turn, fold the elbows, parting leg, stroke down, parry and punch. Form the fist, step up and punch again. Sit back, divert, block, and punch. Cross the arms, leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Bring it down, turn around, pivot, carry tiger to the mountain. Cross the forearms, turn to the corner, obliques, brush knee push. 180-degree turn, left side wind up, left side push. Right side neutral. Grasp the sparrow's tail and push. Hook your wrist, turn all the way to the front. It's a single whip. We're going to hold the ball. This is just like the closing movement, but we're going to go to diagonal flying, right side and stop. Then we're going to turn 5, part the horse's mane. Step up, left side, part the horse's mane. Step up, twist to the left, step up, stroke down, part the horse's mane, turning to the right slightly, stroke down again, turn to the left, turn to the right. Cross corner, cross to the left, turn to the right, forward, back, turn, and turn. Cross. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Stroke down, part the horse's mane. Cross corner. 1, 2, 3, 4. The camera came back on. I think maybe live stream might have had a problem with the software. Going forward, and we're back. Okay. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Sit back. Push forward. Hook your wrists. And we're going to turn back to the front. Second set of cloud hands. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're back to the corner. Hook your wrist to set up a single whip. First downward posture. Press down with the left. Snake 6 out tongue. Pull down. Squat down. Go up. Cross the hands. Lift the knee. Press down. Poke and kick. Turn to the left. Reverse. Turn to the left. Repulse the monkey. Second set. And third and final one on the left. Neutral position right. Lower hoop. Pivot. Carry tiger to the mountain. Balance. Open the stance. Spiral down to lower hoop. Center hoop. Diagonal flying. Shift your weight. Step up. Turn to the left. Turn to the right. Center. Down. Up. Down. Up. And turning. Brush knee 1 time. Insert the needle. Fan through the back. Turn. stroke down, parry and punch. Stepping forward, form your fists and punch. Divert, block and punch. Step up again, grasp the sparrow's tail. Hook your wrists. Okay, third set of cloud hands. And we go across, turn to the left, turn to the right, turn to the left, turn to the right, turn to the left, shift your weight, work your hips and shoulders, and we're back. Hook your wrists, single whip, turn. Lower hoop, vertical elbow, turn your shoulders, palm strikes face. Cross the arms, your right arm stays here, left hand stays here, right hand hits the foot. Then you go to your left, brush knee and push. That was your single lotus. Now you go to your right, you twist and turn, punch down the crotch. That goes forward, back to forward. Step up to grasp the sparrow's tail. Back to single whip. Once we're in single whip, we pivot, second downward posture, invert the hand, flip it over, pull down, scoot up, cross your wrists, 7-star. Retreat, pivot, shift your weight, pivot, hook, and ride the tiger. Right palm goes down, palm shakes face left, come through your center, change your palms, double lotus kick. Draw down, turn your shoulders, turn back to center, beat, that's draw, lotus, shoot, tiger. One, we did this is the first and second same movement. That's the palm strikes face. We turn, parry, and punch. The left palm goes up to set up, your lower hoop on the right, flip the hands over, high pat the horse, left to right center, grasp the sparrow's tail, hook your wrists, and single whip. Hold and reverse the ball just like we did before the Jade Lady worked shuttle. And we close the form. And that's it, deep breathing. So, a lot of the principles and concepts really don't show up until you really have kind of embodied the sequence. I mean, you have to at least be able to get through the form somewhat in order for you to try to do too many changes in your form. And, each and every form has just what happened in Strum the Lute. They have the characteristic forward, backward, right, left, and center. And then you have a little bit of lifting and descending as you rise and fall in your stances. And the rising is really when your back is straightening, and falling or descending, sinking, is also the rounding of your back. And the reason we have to manipulate our skeletal structures when we're doing something that's functional is because the skeletal structure has to be in certain sort of ergonomic positions or positions of naturalness. It's the way we have to protect our body so we can use it efficiently. Because if your body's in the awkward or odd position and you try to do something, the tendency is you're gonna hurt yourself. That applies to your knees, it applies to your hips, it applies to your back, it applies to your neck, it applies to your shoulder, it applies to every joint in your body, because if it's moving unnaturally, and you force it, and that usually happens when you're doing something fast. Why do we get hurt when we fall? Because it's so sudden and it's quick. So what's the first thing you do when you slip and you're about to fall? Your body gets rigid and tenses. And that happens more and more with elderly people because they're already afraid of falling. And then if it starts to happen, you can imagine that there's no other response than to tense. So what happens when something stiff hits something hard? It breaks, right? So that's why. Now what happens when something soft hits something hard? It kind of absorbs some of that impact or absorbs the energy and the movement. So softness is better than hardness because soft will overcome the hard. So in Tai Chi we work to build softness in the legs, because if your legs are stiff and they're locked and you don't want to bend your knees, you have no choice when you fall is to go forward from here, and you're going to crash. The taller you are, the harder you fall. You heard that saying before, right? But the thing is, what happens? You bend your knees. You get closer to there. But the other thing is there's a response there. If your body's used to doing this, that's why I say when someone's drunk or intoxicated, when they fall, they don't get hurt unless they crash into the bar stool or something. But the thing is, other than that, you just kind of go down. Not that I know that happens, but the thing is, it's true. When kids fall down and they roll and they go into their positions, it's because they're relaxed. They're not afraid of falling, so the stress reflex and the response doesn't kick in. Because when they fall, they're just going to get up and they're going to do it again. In fact, some kids just want to show you they can fall. That's part of. But as you get older, you lose the flexibility and the response if you don't do something like this. So when does that happen? It happens as soon as you become an adult. It starts to deteriorate because we don't start to think like this. And it's worse when you start to work because now you have no time to think about what you're going to do for yourself. So that's just, that's it's sort of like chapters in your life. It's just going to happen. Then when you get to this age, like, this group here, we probably have 1,000 years between us, right? No. But the thing is, we're doing this, and if we understand why there's a benefit to it, we'll continue to do it. People that don't understand this will not do it. And based on the number of people in Newton, we have 80,000 people in Newton, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, or whatever. That's a really small percentage of people, and not everybody's from Newton. So that takes it even more, down as to how people, the ones, I know that people haven't come back because of the pandemic, but just using this as a reference that there's a lot of people out there that don't really know that Tai Chi does this. So I didn't even know it did that when I was in my 20s, 30s, or 40s probably. I wouldn't know that because I wasn't in that mindset, or actually I wasn't thinking along those lines. So young people don't think about these things. Young people don't think about falling. They don't think about becoming dysfunctional. It's because it hasn't happened, and they're so busy thinking about what they need to do that they're not focused on that. But, I think that's one of the reasons I'm able to connect with people my age, because I'm their age. When a young person teaches you how to be fit, they don't really understand what you're going through on a physical level. So they try to teach you what they're doing to make them fit. But actually it doesn't work because it's not compatible. There's an age gap, and then there's a recovery difference, and the energy levels are different. So you really have to do things that are age appropriate. That doesn't mean, stop doing things because you're older. No, it means you have to do things that work for you, and not, the chance of injury is going to be a lot less. That's all I can use as an advice, because I'm still pretty careful about what I have to do, even though I do this all the time. If I go out and lift a 200-pound of something, I'm going to hurt myself because I don't do this I don't lift things like that all the time. So if I do lift, I have to do it in a smarter way. And how do you do it smarter? You either use an apparatus to help you, like a jack or something to lift it, or you have to ask a young guy like Eddie to help you and say, let's, two minds are better than one. So, but that's, that's really what it's about, being a little more intelligent about how you can get things done without hurting yourself. And everybody, many of the students that are here have hurt themselves. And not because it's doing this. In the garden, lifting boulders, redoing the path, driveway, doing things that, it's just things you're not used to doing and don't really know how to do it. I had a student here, his dad is a cardiologist, and I kept asking him when he's going to do Tai Chi. This was before the pandemic. Oh, this is actually a few years before that. He says, I will as soon as my back recovers. I said, well, how'd you hurt your back? He said, well, I was trying to cut down a tree. So how many cardiologists go out and cut trees down? Probably none, right? And it's just the way it is. So anyways, grasp the sparrow's tail, right? We got a few minutes. We all know this from day one, right? Vertical elbow. So when we start the form and we end up turning the corner, so if we were here and we shift, right, we're going to turn, and then we're here, right? So from vertical, we first have to go the oblique palm up, right? Then when we put our palms together, we have to go to horizontal elbow, right? So we used to do this. Remember that? That's a pivot. So when we're here and we go to vertical elbow and we go to this position and we pivot, that gave you the transition that tied that vertical to horizontal together. But we can't just do this and go forward and move our arms like this because that's linear and it's not round. Grasp the sparrow's tail has a certain amount of circularity to it. So when we're here and I sink, when I get here, I have to sink and then I turn. Okay, so I'm in my 45-degree position. My spine is over the heel of my rear foot, and I begin to project forward. Now I'm right over my front knee. My nose is here, my thumb is up, it's lined up. And then I separate the hands. Now, as I separate the hands, as I sink my elbow, I elongate the arm, and then I start to roll back. But where's the natural position for the hand to go? Is right past the front of your body. We know that from here. Right? It goes right past your front of your body. It doesn't go like that. It goes here. Why? Because when you relax your shoulder, it's going to come down to the side of your body. That's the natural direction of your shoulder. So we go like this, and I take the natural direction. I come down the stroke, and then I turn, right? So I stroke to here, and then I sit again. That's your left turn to my right. So then when I get to here, I fold my elbows, I sink my knee, and I turn. Now I went across horizontally, right? When I get to this side, I'm back to my spine position over my heel, and then I start to go forward, and I end up here. And then I turn, and I hook my wrist to single whip. So the movement essentially is just this. It's just making one circle. So if you push hands, you see that this is what the movement is. So the important thing is the hand going here, there, here, 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 here. This hand is going here, 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 and then it pushes out as it connects with this hand. That's the single posture. It has the right, the left, the forward, the backward, the center, the up, and the down. And it's all tied together in that single posture. I went through that kind of quick, but that's what you have to kind of capture in the, in the grasp of sparrow's tail as a transition, as a concept of right, left, forward, backward, and center. Happens many times in the form, right? Yeah. So so when we bring that into it, and the reason why I can't do that in every single class is because some people are not ready for it. So you have to be sort of at the stage you're at. You've already memorized the form. You can get through it. So now you have to change, not the sequence, and not it's changing the execution by beginning to put more things into it. But they're not really more things. It's just bringing in right, left, forward, backward, center, and understanding what that means. Because if I just told you Tai Chi is forward, right, left, and center, you wouldn't know what that really meant until you started doing it. So when grasp the sparrow's tail, well, okay, if I did it in this direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I turn to the corner, I turn, and then I hook my wrist, and I turn this way, I open this, and then I begin to draw across, and then I set up. And there's your right, left, center, tied, and here's your up and down in the legs. Here's the preparing for the position in my right, and I turn to my left. I make it to the left, but then I have to reset the right to balance off these shoulders. So the balancing of those shoulders come into relaxing your shoulders and sinking the elbows. Because you really can't relax your shoulders until you sink your elbow. You see? So that's how these concepts kind of tie into movement. So without the concepts, then it's just a bunch of movements. And it doesn't go anywhere beyond, this conceptual side, because this is what's important. It's sort of the theories and principles that allow the movements to be, followed, but at the same time, you can sort of reference it. How do you know if the movement's correct? Well, it's abiding by these certain guidelines and rules. And if it supports those guidelines, it must be more correct. I won't say it's absolute because other things are going to happen. It happens and evolves constantly forever as long as your body is actively doing it. But what the body doesn't know, it's not going to change it itself unless it has absorbed through the visuals and interpretation of that. Because the mind has nothing but it's just a void. You have to fill it with stuff. And what's the stuff? It's information. And that information, depending on whether you're ready to assimilate it or not, is something that really varies with everyone. So on that note, that's it. The screen's back on, the sound's on, and we're ready to go. Thanks, everybody. We got a good shot of Peter's back. That's Peter's back right there. He looks really good. Yep. Look in the mirror. Well, that's Peter. Yeah. He's got the year of the horse on his shirt, just in case you were wondering. And this year's the year of the ox.